Hi, I hope you're having a nice day. My name is Carla Guillen, and today I will be presenting on the transformation of families in accordance to Chapter 7 in the Social Problems book for the course 1306, Section 108. I would like to begin by talking about families and what they are defined as. Families are the foundation to the construction of a society. Throughout the years, society has changed its definition to traditional marriage, which is husband and wife, to its modern day definition, where there is a bit more diversity in marriages, such as the LGBTQ marriages. Therefore, families do not have to share the same traditional structures that was set as a norm long ago. In today's society now, we see families that are created throughout a LGBTQ marriage or a single parenting or even through the adoption process. The family bond is universal. It can be formed anywhere by any group of individuals. So yes, the term family is constantly changing, yet its key function of caring and loving for one another remains the same. The traditional family dynamic is recognized as a conjugal family. These families are seen throughout society more as they are built through a marriage that they're dependent as they are built through a marriage and their dependent offsprings. For example, family is considered to be a conjugal family because we are composed of for example, my family is considered to be a conjugal family because we are composed of my father, my mother, my siblings, and myself. Thus, because the dynamics of families are constantly changing, by the notion of society, we have an acceptance for the same sex parents and step families. The definition to the name of conjugal families has become more traditional family dynamic. The term itself excludes the reference to any same sex families and or step families. Therefore, the modern family structures are composed of a family that is created by the procreation of marriage, a family that is created through the adoption of offspring, a family that is constructed by a single mother and her offspring, a family that is constructed by a single father and his offspring, and a family that is formed by two major mothers and their offsprings, a family that is formed by two fathers and their offsprings. Which leads us to the next point concerning the modern family structures that are composed of the previously stated points. All throughout history, families have been acknowledged as the creation of man and woman and their offspring. Hence, among the research, I concluded that the majority of today's sociologists have begun to recognize that there is a diversity present in the creation of families. There is no specific reason in answering the question, why are families different and what causes families to be unlike one another? In my perspective, families are all different because each one of us is different. We share different likes and different dislikes. Therefore, we can choose what type of family we want to establish. For instance, if a person is gay, then he can create a family with his lover or mate. If a woman is lesbian, she has the ability of raising a baby with another woman. Or if a family wants to divorce, adopt, or foster, they can. It is possible in today's society. That's the beauty behind the family structure. We have the ability to create any family we want. A family is simply a group of individuals who love one another. However, it is the familial bond that binds it all together. The family bond is universal. It is a bond that can be formed among lifelong friends, teammates, roommates, co-workers, etc. In my perspective, when a person hears the phrase familial bond, their mind automatically pictures several persons. In my opinion, having family bonds does not necessarily mean that their blood runs through my veins or that we are biologically related, but rather that we have been there for each other, through thick and thin, as they say. This familial bond could be formed with close groups of friends such as college friends that helped you and supported you through a hardship. Throughout my research, I discovered that individuals can easily form familial bonds by simply spending time together. A family bond is one of the most healthy relationships that can be formed, as it helps individuals develop their confidence and interact with one another. It is a relationship that links to an individual's emotions. When thinking of the main key functions of a family, one always thinks about showing love, respect, and caring for one another. Thus, there is a deep compassion and unity that circles around families. Even though families have altered these structures, the role as a family has always remained the same. The role of guardianship and caring is a mutual concession in a family. The role the role being the role begins with parents taking care of their newborn toddlers, kids, who then become teenagers. Then, as young adults, they begin to grow. He or she will enter adulthood, leading their parents to grow old. Their parents will not be able to take care of themselves, and they're the children as of their children as they once did. Therefore, the child will convert into their providers. For example, I can personally say that it is true that the key functions of a family goes both ways. It is an ongoing emotional connection that allows individuals to constantly be caring for one another. To share my experience, I can say that I remember when I was growing up, my mother would take my grandmother's meals every day. My mother would take my grandmother meals every day. Perhaps most people would think that a meal is not a big deal. But as an elderly person, such as my grandmother, she was growing older and older by the day. She couldn't cook for herself anymore. Plus, it was a dangerous thing to allow her to cook on her own stove without any supervision because she had vision problems, and because of this, she could have burnt herself and her house. Therefore, by taking care of my grandmother's meals each day, my mother demonstrated to me that the key function of a family is to always be there for each other and help one another. There is an old Mexican saying that goes, offsprings are like plants. After years of good care have passed, then they will provide good fruit. It is true that the main function of family is to love. It is an ongoing, never-ending love that nourishes families and its individuals. Although the key functions of a family is to love and be there for one another, many Americans still uphold the beliefs that families should only be constructed through marriage, a man and a woman precisely, and their dependent offsprings. Through my research, I observed that America has many individuals that are very conservative and therefore do not believe that it is right for the LGBTQ marriages they should that it is right for them to adopt. Moreover, it was more surprising to notice that a handful of Americans did not consider a single marriage, only a woman and a man, to be a family. For instance, to me, there is no such thing as a correct family structure. In other words, in my perspective, when thinking about the terminology of family structure, I do not picture a certain group of individuals. To me, a family is what a person wants to consider it to be. A family is where individuals feel confident, secured, and loved. My research taught me that America still has much to change in their society and in their views and norms. For example, society needs to become accepting. Society needs to recognize that everyone is different, and it is obvious because everyone shares different likes and dislikes, and their families will be different. After learning and accepting the differences of families, I began to wonder then, what is the main indicator of a family? What is it that provokes for people to consider a group of individuals a family? A baby. That's what drives people to an automatic that's what drives people to automatically indicate that their group of individuals is a family. It's a baby that unites individuals in becoming a family. Do you consider a baby the start of a family? Or how does a baby alter a marriage into transitioning of becoming a family? You can think of something like, I found it interesting that the baby indicates the start of a family. Personally, I can make the connection to this as growing up when when a woman in the family got pregnant, my aunt, my uncle would say the family is growing. I never thought much of it until writing my research. That is very true. A family does grow when a baby is born. For example, mom when it expect When first time expecting mom and dad or parents are expecting a first baby, then when this baby is born, the family is also born. In other words, a born baby, such as brings a born marriage, bringing two families together, the dad's side and the mother's side. It is two families that come together as one for this baby. The baby unites these two families together. Moreover, a baby might indicate the title of a family, but does not indicate the start of a family bond. Referring back to the presentation in the family bond, it is universal as it can be formed through any group of individuals. The future of family structures is revolutionary as it is constantly changing throughout the years. Such a society will never be the same for years to come, nor will families. Families is the connection that connects both an individual and society that transform families. It is caused by social changes and societal experiences. Throughout my research, I came to understand that my personal belief is there is no correct family structure, and there will never be a correct way. Families require to be different, and they will always remain different. In addition, I realized that even though my even though family structures are constantly changing, the key function will never change. Families will always remain defined by love. Families will always be groups of individuals that care for one another, whether they are same-sex families or different colors, or even just friends. It is through a family bond where the family is created regardless of sexual preference, procreation, adoption, race, or etc. Family structure is maintained by the strong emotional connection to one another. I will conclude this presentation now. Thank you for your undivided attention and have a nice day. Here are my references. If you have any questions, please contact me.